Hey, what's up YouTube? Wes here, welcome to the channel. So today marks a big day in the history of Kaiju No. 8's manga. It's been running since 2020 and we are finally witnessing the origins of Kaiju No. 8 itself. Not Kafka, but the little bug dude from chapter 1. So first off, let's hone in on chapter 1, when Kafka was forced to throat a bug. I didn't mean to make it sound as bad as it sounds, but it is what it is, folks. So this heinous assault on Kafka's mouth mostly happened behind a hospital curtain from Reno's perspective, right? Not much of Kafka's actual struggle during the event was shown to the reader. Then Reno pulls back the curtain and boom, here's a fully monsterized Kafka. But peep this small but big change to this exact same scene in the anime.
先輩傷が痛むんですか先輩
So, if you notice, the key difference is that once Kafka swallows that thing whole, he is assailed by a bunch of angry spirits in the process of his transformation. This change was 100% something that was requested by the author Naoya Matsumoto, and although it's just a small change, it ultimately ended up paying off big down the road today. So, let's go on and get the elephant out of this room. The origin of Kaiju No. 8, if we are all reading this correctly, appears to be tied to the lingering will and regret of all of the fallen samurai of the Meireki era, specifically those slaughtered by the Meireki Daikaiju, or that I like to call Kaiju No. 0 for now. You might be wondering, okay, but how is that possible? To which I say, I don't know. This new plot twist could effectively make Kaiju No. 8 a supernatural kaiju and not simply a biological one born from nature running its course. In fact, this brings the origin of all kaiju in this series into question, or at least the ones not clearly created by Kaiju No. 9. Previously, we were led to believe that all kaiju are born from various sea creatures and or biological material mixing with the energy secreted from the center of the earth that shoots through the fault lines at the bottom of the ocean floor. A place that is essentially impossible for humanity to reach and safely study due to the overwhelming amounts of water pressure you would have to deal with. I mean, no one in a proper state of mind would dare attempt to delve that deep into the sea without the proper safety checks and balances, right? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. For the Defense Force, this was the working theory, and for a time it was even supported by Kaiju No. 9 actually being able to make it into one of these fault lines safely. And then he just set up shop and started busting out all of these Daikaiju. This man had his own little murder factory / training facility going on. It was crazy. Today's chapter is a bit of a monkey wrench in that theory, but also maybe not. Two things can be true at the same time. Maybe most kaiju are born from the energy in the planet's fault lines, and maybe some kaiju are more akin to supernatural entities. Yo, we are at a point where we could actually be going full Jujutsu Kaiju. Now, there is a chance of a more somewhat logical, grounded explanation of Kaiju No. 8's creation, and that is tied to the dream that Kafka is not only forced to witness, but he is also forced to actively take part in as well. The Phantom Samurai is seemingly trying to manipulate Kafka's emotions by making him experience the massacre during the Great Meireki Fire, all in an attempt to form a stronger connection with Kafka. Because you see, if Kaiju No. 8 is an amalgamation of lingering shame, rage, and regret, well, that means that its true power is tied to those emotions, and making Kafka experience that could be the key factor needed to releasing all of that power. During this battle, Kafka once again flexes his knowledge of historical kaiju neutralization practices. He immediately clocks in that the weapons used during the 1600s were primitive weapons created from kaijus just the same as the present. But these weapons, they suck. Right? They're just freaking booty. That's basically it. They're trash. All of them are in a base form and are more volatile due to the weapons being parasitic in nature, meaning unlike the suits of the present that humans can safely neurologically synchronize with, by virtue of these weapons in the past being parasitic, that means that the weapons are in a constant state of being rejected by the human body as foreign objects, meaning that it takes a massive toll on the people making use of said weapons. They're just much less efficient. This is the point I wanted to make when I said there is a chance of a more grounded logical explanation to Kaiju number 8. We know that Kaiju number 8 is also a parasitic kaiju. Okay, the weapons the warriors of the Meireki era use are parasitic kaiju material. We know that kaiju can retain the memories of the people they meld with. Look no further than Kaiju number 4 retaining the memories of Hikari Shinomiya. So my picture is not perfect and it has some holes, but it looks a little something like this. The Meireki warriors use kaiju-based weapons to fight Daikaiju. The Meireki warriors all die horribly at the hands of Kaiju Zero. In death, all of the shame, regret, and anger of the fallen warriors are absorbed and collected by the parasitic weaponry. Over some period of time, this lingering will trapped within the weapons begins to resonate with each other. Somehow, the organic material used to craft these weapons gathers together and begins to coalesce into a tiny, insignificant bug. And then, ta-da, we get Kaiju number 8. Now don't ask me how katanas and naginatas and potentially suits of armor are gonna sprout legs, walk over to each other, and combine into a single entity. Look, I don't know, but somehow I bet these weapons containing all of those feelings merged in some way. Who knows, maybe they all fell into one of the Earth's fault lines and came into contact with the energy that produces kaiju, but that is the closest we are going to get to an explanation for now until Matsumoto reveals more about the story to us. This was Kaiju number 8's darkest chapter yet, I think. Dudes are getting unlimbed, untorsoed, stabbed, eaten alive, wife and child yeeted, crops destroyed, so you know whoever survives ain't eaten much afterwards either, so watch them die of starvation. When you take all of that into account, this chapter was dark, bro. One of the highlights of this chapter was seeing Hoshina's ancestor swoop in to rescue Kafka. At first I thought that it was a past ancestor of Mina coming to rescue Kafka, because all I noticed was the black hair, the ponytail, and I was about to flip out. But it being Hoshina's ancestor makes a lot more sense. Unfortunately for him, he doesn't do much outside of getting bodied by Kaiju Zero. And then we see how everyone is shooketh over how the samurai called the greatest in all creation gets murked. The other major highlight is all of the vengeful spirits crawling over Kafka's body as they, along with Kafka, fall into the abyss and coalesce into Kaiju number 8. This is going to be such a peak moment when it's animated. I mean, it's peak now, but when that animation comes along, it's gonna be good. I do want to pat myself on the back just a bit, because a few chapters ago, I had a theory that Kaiju number 8 had some kind of predilection for humanity and was angered over the fact that they all died at the hands of Kaiju Zero, only to learn today that Kaiju number 8 seemingly is the manifestation of the humans that suffered defeat at the hands of Kaiju Zero. That is an amazing plot twist and could be the groundwork laid for the next arc, if there is another arc. Now, sadly, we all have to wait another month, basically, before we get the next chapter, and even that feels like playing a sick and twisted game of Russian roulette. Why, you might ask? Because I have the creeping suspicion that the next release for the manga could just be one of those 6 to 7 page colored artwork chapters that Matsumoto loves to do. So I'm not getting my hopes up to reduce the pain on December 5th if that ends up being the case. Anyways, that is the end of the video. As always, let me know what you guys think of the chapter in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed this type of content, then thumbs up the video and consider subscribing for more. And I will see you guys on the next video. Alright, that'll be all, folks. God bless. Peace.